not even recognized as a legal entity separate from their husbands. A wife could not sue a husband, a wife could not testify against a husband, because the law saw them as a single person, the man. They could not own property. Because of that, they could not exercise an independent vote. Children don't own property, they're dependent on their parents, they are not permitted to vote. Slaves cannot vote, not just because they're slaves, but because they're not independent. Their slave owners will dictate, you do this or else. You can't give those people a vote. So there's a reason for why they do this. Does that make sense? Now, for the working class, can they believe in representative government?
It doesn't represent them, so no.
Well, they can believe in representative government, but they want it to be, yeah, they're going to want universal suffrage. What kind of government will this be? What's the word for it? Well, Republican means you simply don't have a king. Yeah, they want democracy. Okay, they're going to believe also in individual liberty. So there's, again, we're still under liberalism, so there is a lot that they share, but the radical wing will take this and want to go farther. Rather than reform, they're going to be more interested in revolution. These guys, possibly revolution, but a little bit more reform. Also, if you don't have a lot of property, what are you much more willing to do to get what you want? Well, it's not war, but it's called revolt. And so they're much more willing to embrace more violent activities. Does that make sense? Is everybody following this? How much time? How are we doing on time? We got what? Got 10 minutes. Okay. Probably time to introduce a few acronyms here. For classical liberalism, we will have. Let me just make sure I've got this right. If you want an acronym to sort of remember this, they believe in change or constitutions, which is one of the reasons why conservatives don't like them, is they want to change the status quo. They believe in constitutions. They believe in liberty. They believe in equality. They believe in representative assemblies. I should have this back here, just in case I don't know where that's. And they believe in reform or revolution, and so we get what acronym? Clear. For the radicals, we can summarize it with democracy, with republics or republican government. You could also put in revolution if you wanted, but we'll do that. Individual rights or independence. They are much more willing to embrace violence, as we'll see in our various revolutions that are coming up. They believe in equality, and you can see where we're leading with this. They also will tend to identify with nationalism. And so we get driven, okay, or drive, as a way to try to remember that. I don't know if that's helpful. Again, with the acronyms, if it's helpful, that's great. If not, just the universal suffrage, this idea of democracy. Can you see the connection to nationalism? What is the belief of nationalism? Okay. The people have common values, and what are some of the things that identify or define a nation? Language,
Culture,
culture.
political structure,
Well, you're going to try to create a political structure, possibly if it's part of the same culture,
heritage.
but that, yeah, heritage or a shared history, okay? And the idea that nations or are like individuals. They have their own character. Every nation should be given its own sort of rights, its own independence, its own existence. And if you do that, then can all the nations live in harmony? The same way if you free individuals, if they're free, do you have any reason then to have conflict? At least that's the dream. All right? So we have clear, we have driven. Is that so far so good? Who's going to ask the question I really want you to ask?
Tell me the question was.
Yeah.
Well, if we have acronyms for liberalism and for radical liberalism.
What is it?
Conservative.
Oh, yeah. I'm glad you asked that, Michael. Thank you. Okay. What do they believe in? Can you guys figure out? What's going to be first? Religion? Good. They believe in experience. Right? What else do they believe in?
Tradition.
Tradition.